Hi, I'm Sly. Welcome to my world. So, some friends of mine, Jeremy and Ashley, they're building a house up in the North Woods of Wisconsin, and they asked me to come up and help them do the ceiling that they're putting in. And so, no problem. We've done it before with the compound miters. Here we have the main ceiling, cathedral part of the ceiling here runs north and south, and that's like a 4.5 or a 4.3 pitch. And the other one that comes in from the west into it that ties into it is a 9. So they're doing some circle sawn, tongue and groove, end matched maple, and the stuff is really nice looking lumber. So what I did is took a 8-foot ledger board out of plywood and figured out the angle where the 2 points come together, where the compound miters are, and we laid that ledger board up there, engaged it, and we screwed it on there up there so we could tie all these boards into it so we get a nice crisp straight line where the miters all come out. And if it wasn't for the awesome framing they did on this place, there's no way this would ever work out. You'd never get a straight ridge or hip. But Jeremy took a lot of extra time, him and his dad Jack, and they did a really nice job on the framing and tweaked it, made sure we had a nice flat surface, which because trusses don't always come out perfectly flat and level or whatever. So anyway, our angle on this 912 here where it ties into the other ceiling ended up being like a 57 degree, and their sliding compound saw that they have, that one they could get over that far. Mine only goes to a 50, but luckily that one worked for that. We had like a 22 degree bevel. So I didn't film us putting the ridge in because that takes a little bit of time. I mean, it was a lot of messing around. You got to bevel both pieces, put two pieces together, bevel them, glue and nail them together, then put them up there, and then sight the ridge straight and everything. And it takes a little bit of time. The getting started is the worst part, but once you get started, it just seems to flow together. This wood was really nice. It was random widths, so we had 5s, 4s, and 3-inch pieces, and we had an equal amount of them, so we just kept using one row. We alternated like 5, 3, 4, 5, 3, 4, but if, like Jeremy said, you look at it upside down and it's 3, 4, 5 or whatever it ended up being, so you couldn't really get the pattern out of it. So yeah, the miters turned out nice. Pretty happy with this way it was going here. Spent 4 full days on this ceiling. Usually it takes about 2, but it's a little putzing around. The maple is hard. The nail gun was having a hard time going through it. Yeah, we're moving our ledger board down, getting it down there where we can finish this bottom part off. You know, he's got some lights to cut around and stuff. Day 1 we finished the 912 area, and then day 2 we got started on the main ceiling. And like that again, the ridge is a little tricky because the first board, you know, you got about an inch of room at the ridge there, and then you got a compound miter that goes both ways. So that took a little bit of time, but we got that ridge nice and straight, and once you got going here, it was good to go. So where we tied into the other one, that angle ended up being 25 degree or 24.5 degree or something. Same bevel, 22. And that, I don't know if we changed that angle, tweaked it at all 2 or 3 times on the way down, if that. This thing was, that ridge or hip or whatever you want to call it, inverted valley, that thing was straight as an arrow, like a knife edge. It was so nice. The framing was crucial. So we just glued everything together. all came down. I took a little piece of sandpaper and I just broke the edge just a little bit, and then we just touched it up with some stain, just so it wasn't so crisp. One thing nice about this tongue and groove is it had a small radius, and I mean a small radius where the joints were. It didn't have the big 1/4 inch V grooves in it. So none of our grooves obviously would line up because we had a 57° on one and a 25° on the other one. So none of the lines are going to line up. But it didn't matter because it had such a small radius on the joints that it actually, you never even noticed it when we got finished and looked up at it. So I was pretty happy with that. And we did this ceiling one other time about 10 or 12 years ago, a different one. It had a 4-way cathedral coming in east and west and north and south. Similar to this, but there was one extra one in there, and that one we had to make sure we had the pitches exactly the same because that had the, we put pine ceiling up there with a 1/4 inch V groove in it, which is a pretty pronounced groove. When you put them together, you got a 1/2 inch V, and we made sure every one of those came out right on, lined right up, every one of them, which was a challenge. You know, we had to tweak it a little bit, but so this ceiling was turning out nice. Even though it was a little dark, I like the darker ceiling. I'm so used to seeing clear pine that this thing just stood out to me. I really love this ceiling. It's just awesome. So on the 4th day, Jeremy gave me a break from going up on the scaffolding all day long, which was nice because I was getting sick of that. So I was down there cutting for him. And no matter what you do, if you're up on the scaffolding or if you're on the ground, your neck is still sore from looking up all the time. But I was feeling it from being up there all the time. I don't know, my lower back started getting to me. So I made him suffer for a day. But here we get on the other side of the ceiling and got a few lights to go around, a few angled walls and stuff, and but other than that, I think we got the hard part done. We had it licked, which we didn't really have any problems on the other side. We had it planned out pretty well. Like I said, we're just fitting the walls nice and tight, recutting here and there because the drywall isn't screwed in perfectly flat to everything, you know, and you got to tweak every cut just about. But and a lot of lights to go around. So once we got past this point in the ceiling where the 45 went both ways, got to put all them angled walls in these houses nowadays. But yeah, make everything a little tougher. So you can't really slide a full piece in because you got the long point has got to slip in the, you got to slip the groove into the tongue. So here we just took basically put 3 pieces in on every row. We started out with one cut piece. Jeremy had a good idea, you know, to put that in. Then put a short piece, because we had a bunch of short pieces. There was a lot of short pieces mixed in with this pile of lumber. Stick a short piece in next to the one you already fit. Measure. Cut the one that goes in on the right side. and then take the little one and tap it in, which turned out really nice. That worked out really good, because I was wondering how we were gonna do that without cutting the back of the tongue off, the female end, and he had a good idea there. I give him credit for that one. So it was nice having all the random lengths, because we had a pile of short ones between a foot and 2 feet, 3 feet, 5, 4s, 7s, 8s, whatever. They were a pretty good random selection. So Jeremy and I are on this final stretch here. We got past that point. Now it's basically just fitting everything tight from one end to the other, and working our way down to the bottom, which is pretty narrow. For happy to be to this point right now. It's getting later in the day. We put in a pretty long day trying to get this done, but it's turning out beautiful. Everything is fitting good. I mean, we're doing the best that we can do on it. I mean, it fits really nice. So we're both pretty happy with it at this point. So just when we thought we were done, come turned around and I forgot we had this little wedge piece to do by the fireplace. Um, so this one's the same thing as the other part. You can't really go from the top down because the angle's the wrong way, and unless you cut the back of the tongue or the groove off every one, which we didn't want to do. So we just figured it out, measured down, got started, and worked our way up, which worked pretty good. So whatever small pieces we had left over, basically used a lot of them up in this area. So getting down to the last few pieces here, and we're done with the main ceiling. We had a bunch of not a bunch of material, but we had enough left over where he's got a tray ceiling in his bedroom, and he came up with an idea to put some kind of herringbone pattern in it, which ended up, I was a little skeptical about it. It turned out pretty nice, but we ran short on material, so I didn't get all the way around on it. So, but here we are, getting the last few pieces in, and takes a little bit of dinking around trying to get this thing perfect. Trying to slide it in between two pieces here, but we get her. Put a little glue on it, get her touched up here, or pounded in, touched up. And, other than that, we got one little piece left, and ceiling's done. Turned out awesome. I love it. So, give you a little look around with the other camera, and thanks for watching. I appreciate it. See you on the next one.